Yeah, very good evening and good morning. So, what I wanted to cover today was on Vijnana. So, anyone would like to talk about what he or he thinks about Vijnana, consciousness? What do you understand? So, today is your session, not mine. I'm actually putting in a spot.
Vijnana is the facilitator of the or joiner in the process of experiencing. It joins experiencer and experience.
Yeah, I've been speaking on that, but what experience, what is that you have understood? Meaning, when we are talking about Vijnana all the time, how far have you been able to penetrate the experiencer and the experience? That's a major thing. So it'll be fun to hear.
Oh, so what is the question? It's not about what is Vijnana. It's
No,
about
no. Vijnana is correct. What you're saying is that there's a like Shreyas message, this magician. Then you're saying experience or experience. That's correct. Absolutely fair. There's no mistake in that answer. But my question is, how far have you penetrated Vijnana? One of the key things, yeah, Ari, 1 second. Getting recorded. So, one of the key things uh, we need to understand is that Vijnana has its own food. Okay. And that is what is there in the Putta Mamsa Sutta. So, if we don't get it, if you don't see the magician, we'll be searching everywhere. No, Shreyas, that is not the answer. Talking about Vijnana, you're talking about Jivitindriya. They are two different things. In one way, it powers up the Jivitindriya, that is correct, but it's got nothing to do with Jivitindriya because that is dependent on Ayu. Yes, yes, Ayu, go ahead.
I guess I don't have the experience of experiencer and experienced so much in terms of the separation and the relation of that. But what I can see in terms of Vijnana is that whatever it can take any role which you think is true, and whatever you think the role is, you take it to be true. Like I go around in life and I can see myself assume different roles, and whenever I'm in that role, I feel I'm in that role. um, Even though there's not much substantial in that. Also, like in dreams, I take that to be myself, and I can see if I'm an animal, if I am like this different beings, I can see how immediately that will be taken as real. And I guess that's how I'm able to experience it a little bit.
Yeah, that is still Namarupa. It is not Vijnana. So, whatever roles you are playing is Namarupa, basically. So, now the question comes, what is Vijnana? What is that? It's not having a jnana. What it is not knowledgeable about. And on what knowledge it becomes liberated. You got the point? We are saying avidya pachaya sankhara, sankhara pachaya vijnana. And vijnana itself is a food. And another place we are saying that vijnana is unmanifested, unmanifestative, anidassana vijnana. And we are talking about 5 aggregates, and then in that it's a Vijnana. So Buddha says that one who understands Vijnana has understood everything over. So then you're done. No, Shreyas. It's not about Yatha Bhuta Jnana and Vijnana. No. That's also not the answer. So just think. We've been going on this track, and then you got used to my words, and then now you have got seasoned with that. But what is consciousness? And what's the difference between Manasikara and consciousness? Meaning, Manasikara and Vijnana. Is there a difference? Are both the same? And then what's the difference between Chitta and Vijnana? Yeah, 9 stages of Vijnana or Chitta. There should be some difference, right? Think, don't just answer. This is a very important one about Vijnana. Now, this understanding Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara is somewhat okay. But what is Vijnana? If we don't get it, then the question comes, who is in Nibbana then? And who is in Nibbida? Who is in Viraga? Who is in Nirodha? Who is in Upasamaya? Like one day I and Ashutosh were talking about the experiencer and the experience. There should be someone to experience for that experience. Or when you say experiencer, that means there's a someone who is experiencing something. Otherwise, where's the experience? If there is a reflection, then there should be a reflector. If there is a subject object, there should be somebody to look at the object and feel the subject. What does Vijnana do to you? Now then another further question is that, are you Vijnana then? Are you part of Vijnana? Right? So you need to ask this question, you need to investigate. So the sati, when it gets established, then you can really see what is Vijnana. And when you see that, you understand that this is Chitta and this is Vijnana for yourself. Okay, so you will find a differentiation. When you find the differentiation, you will come to know about akinchayatana for yourself, not for me, for yourself. And then nothing will be forgotten. Then onwards, then you are good to go, meaning good to investigate, good to be in vipassana, to be very honest. Your actual vipassana starts when you have explored Vijnana. That's the field. That's the one which creates illusion. So you have literally found the person who is putting you in a delusion or illusion or whatever that is. So, and hence a magician. Maya upamancha vijnanam. That's what we are. So out of the 4 of them, we looked at the Rupa. So we said that, okay, so why don't we go into a river or take a bucket, fill it with soap water, then you make shapes whatever you want. So we also spoke about how the Japanese are inventing these robots, which looks real, absolutely real. That's Rupa. And then we also looked at what is feeling. How do you feel? So I feel I am father, I am mother, I am brother, and this. There's a feeling also attached, not only the perception. Then we spoke about perception. Okay, what's perception? It's like running in the desert. So I am running behind Vilas, who doesn't even exist, but I am running. Then we looked at Sankharas. What is Sankhara? And yesterday, myself and Sachin, we were discussing the difference between Sankhara and Abhisankhara. If you put a value to any Sankhara, becomes Abhisankhara. If you don't put any value to it and you're just watching it, it becomes Samatha, tranquility. But if you're just doing Sankharas without knowing what those Sankharas you're doing, it's just an intention that I intend to see this, I want to see. I want my eyes to see this, I want my ears to see this, hear this. Those are also Sankharas. Now you have three kinds of Sankharas from there. Is you have a Punyabhisankhara, Punyabhisankhara, Aninjabhisankhara. That means Sankharas which will take you to merit, and Sankharas will take you to demerit, and the Sankharas which will take you to jhanic experience. But they again are Sankhara. Now, having understood these four aggregates out of five, now it's time to understand what is Vijnana. How far have you been able to get into it? Again, the test is that if your Sila is good, Sati is going to be good. If Sila is broken, Sati will not be there. And without Sati, you can never find the magician. No matter how much you read, how much of the suttas we have read, how much ever we have gone through, how much ever we have investigated, but yet you will not find that person. And if somebody asks what is Vijnana, you can say Chakku Vijnana, Sota Vijnana, Ghana Vijnana, Jivya Vijnana, Kaya Vijnana, Mano Vijnana, over. That's it. But have we seen those Vijnanas? To say that, this is how the Chakku Vijnana happens. Oh my God, I didn't know this. This is fascinating. How about Sota Vijnana? Oh, this is how it works. This is Ghana Vijnana. This is how it works. So have we done something like that? And then you have picked up Vijnana. That's the thing.
So my experience with Vijnana is I cannot see it directly because I myself is Vijnana.
No, fair. Yeah. Go ahead.
But I can post analysis, what you can say, post mortem I can do. Because to an extent, all the three are related to memory. Sati is related to memory. Vijnana is somewhat related to memory. So I just had an experience. I was totally involved with that. I was seeing it, and then I can analyze. Okay, that I was Vijnana. To an extent, I'm not able to see. Yeah, in front of me, this is Vijnana. That's not possible by me.
Okay, no worries. So how about seeing the Vijnana right here, right now? That is what today's session. What you have done, fine. But how do we see it? So what is Vijnana? Vijnana is that which knows and which knows not. It knows, yet it knows not. Now the question comes what it knows. So in the Khajaniya Sutta, he says that it knows salt, it knows sweet, and all other taste. Now I can just read it and say, one that knows the salts is. But I'm failing to see that it identifies and helps in creating the sanya. Got the point? Whatever one cognizes, cognition is knowing. It knows. You don't have to teach it. There's no teacher there. It knows. but it knows not. It doesn't know that it knows. Meaning, when I put a sugar, say a cube in my mouth, in the mouth, immediately it gives a taste of sweet. It recognizes that this is sweet. You are not doing anything about the sweetness, or you're doing anything about the salt. It recognizes that which can recognize the object and yet doesn't know that it has recognized the object is vijnana. Meaning, it has no knowledge that it has picked up this taste. That means it doesn't know that it is giving an experience to the tongue, not to me, to the tongue. And what it gives to the tongue comes as a taste. And the mind, which is made out of chitta, has either raga or dvesha or moha. Now it manufactures, it prepares. This is a good taste. This is a bad taste. The feeling as a good taste and bad taste. The manufacturer of good taste and bad taste. Meaning, this vijnana knows this is good and bad by default. It knows. But without knowledge, it is giving something to the Vedana. It's rolling to the Vedana, and then mind, whatever we call as mind, the feeler, feels sweet and add something to it. One second. And because it feels, it perceives. And because it perceives, it feels. Because a beautiful cycle is created, like a whirlpool. You feel because you perceive, and you perceive because you feel. And the vijnana knows that it has created this magical illusion of feeler and perceiver. So vijnana on one side, feeler and perceiver on the other side gives a mirror-like impression and comes as I. I'm feeling sugar. So sugar is a sanya, perception. Sweet is a taste. So you'll not find sugar, you'll find taste of sweet. But you call it as sugar. What vijnana then does, it then gives the experience of sugar, not the sweet. And that is the magician job. The magician is giving you, actually it is sweet. It's not sugar. But because it gives an ability to feel and perceive through naming, vijnana can now give the experience of sugar. So the experiencer, this which tongue experiences sugar in place of sweet. Like there's no coffee out there. There's no coffee. What you get is bitter. There's no coffee. It's bitter. That's all what you get. But the magician then gives you the experience of coffee. How? There's a feeling of coffee and perception of the coffee. And both are fake. Both are totally fake. For 1 second, there's a. It's showing video is paused. Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. I think now it has come. It was totally frozen. So let me again repeat. So let's take coffee. The nama is coffee. There is no rupa of coffee. First thing. Okay, first analysis. Nama is coffee. Rupa is not there as coffee. The taste what you get is bitter. You will never get coffee taste. It's bitter taste. That's it. All that it knows that it is bitter. But it knows not is coffee. The Vijnana doesn't know it is coffee. It knows this is bitter. But because Vijnana can reflect, that is its consciousness, it can reflect on any object. So the feeler is created, which is a fake one. There's no person as a feeler. Now, I feel coffee. Nobody can say to me that I did not have coffee. And forget about that. I will feel coffee, perceive it as coffee. It's even more worse because there's no feeling without perception. Tomorrow, coffee is called as coca or cocoa. Then coffee is removed. Everybody starts to put it as cocoa. So if that person were to drink that, he will say it's coffee. And I will say, no, it's not coffee. It's cocoa. Ah, cocoa. How? All the while it was coffee. Now it is cocoa. And this changeover within a fraction of a second is what the magician is doing. And hence Buddha says, Maya upamancha vinyanam. Think it over. Yes, Aryu, go ahead.
I've kind of been thinking in meditation, when thoughts arise, this process can be maybe the one of the best ways to see it. I don't think I have a deep experience of it, but I can see in meditation this image just jumping in my head, like there's this random scene in the past. Right? When it appears, it's merely like you could say a vision of sort. There's no meaning to it. But if I'm not careful, a split second later, I feel I'm there and I have to do something with it. I feel attached to that scene. I feel from the scene of the scene to the attachment of the scene happens very quickly, which of course feeling and perception played a role in that. And that's where the vijnana is creating that real feeling that I'm there. If I'm not careful, I'm totally in that for a while. Then I bring back. I'm wondering if that's one way to catch
That
it.
is, yes, that is also there. So what we need to discern is to see this vinyana, because that is the ahara. So what ahara it had? It had coffee as the ahara. Then it had vilas as the ahara. Then it had Aryu as the ahara. It has Sachin as ahara. It has Shreyas as ahara. It has Ashutosh as ahara. That's a food. It keeps on creating. You, whatever you say, it immediately prepares. And because it prepares, there is sankhara. And hence, after sankhara is vijnana. Because
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I feel like it is Vijnana who is preparing, and sometimes I feel like if it is preparing, then it is Sankhara.
always that cyclical is there. So vijnana pachaya
Magician,
sankhara, sankhara pachaya vijnana, vijnana pachaya sankhara,
yeah,
sankhara pachaya vijnana. Just like vedana pachaya tanha, before that you need to have sanni. And hence he says yam vedeti tam sanjanati, yam sanjanati tam vitakketi. So it literally whirlpool effect. It just keep on rotating there, giving the experiencer an experience. As simple as that. So it just creates two people.
and it is iterative. Means it keeps on increasing the versions and adding more
Yes,
vivid.
yes. So you can keep on adding things. So the avidya here is not knowing the vijnana is the magician. Simple as that. All of this is happening because of vijnana, not because of anything else. The vijnana job is to make things appear. That's all. So if you want Bangalore to appear, it appears in vijnana, nowhere else. It doesn't appear anywhere. And when Bangalore appears, there's no Bangalore. There is mud, there is dirt, there is whatever. It's only mud and other things. But what I start to see, because of the feeling that this is Bangalore, and this is indeed a perception on the consciousness. So in the Mahaveda, yeah, go ahead.
So if we pause when the sweet has come, we pause and not let it go till coffee. Let's say. So Vijnana is tasting sweetness,
That's it.
and yet not concluded that it is coffee,
Yes.
and yet not perceived it as a coffee or chai or whatever language what it is replaceable, kind of a CC++ variable, yet not perceived. Still Vijnana is there, right?
Vijnana would be there, but then it is
Yeah.
purified. There is no raga, dvesha, moha. In that.
Yeah, purified. And can I say there is no sankhara in that?
No.
So it's not preparing anything. It's not preparing coffee. It's not preparing the exact thing about coffee, and yet not preparing the experiencer, yet not preparing the whole story, and yet just seeing the sweetness. It just stops there for a case of Arhan.
One second. That is what it called as mute mattan. The taste comes, he will feel sweet. Doesn't go beyond that. Or salty.
Doesn't go beyond that. That means not even a slight or not even a subtlest sanya is present. Not even nimitta is present.
Yes, that's the reason that popular line in the Kalaha Vivada Sutta. Na sanya sanni, na visanya sanni, na asanya sanni, vibhuta sanni. Yes, sir, you.
Yeah, I was just thinking what Sachin was describing is the Vijnana doesn't go through the 9 stages, but it has stopped at the Manasam, right? Where only very basic, it's almost not a nimitta, but just very basic, knowing is there. But it does not go to Hadayam where it's taking as my experience, where the attachment that the cravings start happening and all the sankhara stuff start happening.
Exactly. So let's not go so far. If I'm watching this and I know what it is, knowing, basic knowing that this is Patavi, this is Apo, this is Tejo, this is Vayu, this is Akasa. Because that it knew not. It always knew that this is iPhone, this is road, this is LG, this is Buddha statue, that is Mac Mini, this is the table, that is this is that, like that. Okay, all the things are getting unnecessarily loaded onto Vinyana. When it loads itself onto Vinyana, it has to create two parties. One to experience, one the experience. The Chakku becomes the experiencer of the experience. The Sota becomes the experiencer of the experience. The Ghana becomes the experiencer of the experience. The Chakuncha Paticha Rupecha Upajati Chakku Vinyanam literally means by adding these two guys, it's created an experience out of the experiencer. Yes.
See, this is beyond. Yesterday we were talking. This is beyond NS Neva Sanya Na Sanya because Sanya level has not yet come. It is even subtler than that. But my question is, this is theoretically very clear to me. But practically, what can I do? Because by the time I can get anything, by the time I can understand anything, it is the level of Sanya. My world is Sanya, right? I have never gone beyond Sanya, right? So this is the only domain in which I live, and I have lived so far 40 years. Every time, what I see is Sanya only. How can I see this? This is beyond my capacity. I can only do postmortem about it.
Correct. For that reason only, Buddha started with Anatta Lakkana Sutta. That's a breaker of the Vijnana. That's the starting point. Don't forget about that starting point. So first, I do the Sila. Okay. And bring the fear in the Vijnana so that it starts replacing. So, few minutes ago, myself, Aryu, and Matt, we were discussing. There's one sutta in the Sutta Nipata, which I had gone through it earlier, so they shared me. It says that you don't have to have this puja, rituals, praying, metta, this, that, nothing is required. So Aryu was confused. You are saying that we require all of this, and here it says that we shouldn't have it. So can you just clarify to me? I was asking this question, what level that person is. Is already in Anagami or Arhat. And for that person, you don't require this at all. Otherwise, he won't be an Anagami in the first place. If there is still residue of impurities, like Kamachanda and Vyapada or Abhijja and Vyapada, then why would he have it? One second, before I allow you to speak, so what we need to understand is, to break that, you need to shake it up. You need to shake the Vijnana. You yourself is Vijnana. You have to shake that Vijnana because it doesn't know. If it knew, then there's no problem, right? It is then the issue is closed. That is Nibbana. Now it doesn't know. So for not knowing, you have to do something about it. So you have to bring in fear. So the experiencer brings in the fear for the experience, which is fear. Duccharita Vipaka Sutta, why I need to do is to bring in the fear. In where? In the Vijnana. Because that is what get established. it gets nidasana, or in Sanskrit, nirdarshana. That is, it instead of anirdarshana or anidasana, it gets into nirdarshana. That means it occupies. And where it occupies, wherever it has a residue. What it has a residue. If the residue is in the four apayas, it just establishes there. So the eye will come exactly as per that. Ear will come exactly as per that. The nose will come exactly as per that. And tongue and body and all that. So suddenly, in the chitta, the animalistic tendency or the preta tendency or the asura tendency or the niraya tendency is going to come. Unless shaken. You shake it up. Shake it up. Oh, okay. Oh, I am Vijnana. I should know this. Oh my God, I had not known. That's the shaking. So the chitta vishuddhi, right? Purifying the chitta. Yes, Aryu, let me give you it.
No, I was having a question on anagami, but I guess this shaking you're saying kind of reminds me of people checking whether they're having a dream when they're in a dream. I haven't tried pinching myself, but I see people try to pinch themselves. Say, is it real? Is it real? Or they're trying to say, hey, like if sometime I have lucid dream, I will check, am I having a dream? So I guess that's a reflection moment where you can see what vijnana it is.
Right. So basically, yes.
And I think it makes sense when you ask first itself. I told I am the Vijnana. How can I see? But I have not said from that perspective. I was practicing anatta. This is not me. This na etam mama na eso aham asmi. That practice was going well, but I was not. This is more subtler than that. I am the Vijnana. It is more subtler than saying na etan mama na eso aham asmi.
Yes. So we are coming into the actual portion of the Dhamma. The what I can say, the core of the Dhamma is to purify the Vijnana. That's it. Rupa, Chitta, Chetasika, Nibbana. 4 things. So we done with Rupa. Now we come into the Chitta and Chetasika. That's what we come. Yes, Aryu.
Yeah, I was just, based on your comment, I was just thinking, just to clarify, it's probably true, but for anagami, all the rupa, the feeling and perception don't appear. And hence, I mean...
It appears. Hold on. Don't come to anagami as yet. When you are in Bangalore, we will talk about a long session about anagami. Leave that poor guy anagami aside. So let's understand Vijnana. Don't jump there because then you'll get muddled up. Keep it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep it. But I guess there's no...
Wait. No. Let's come to Vijnana. No. Sorry. Stop it. Forget those 4 states of people and all that. First, let's understand Vijnana. Then we know, okay, what will anagami have? What will arhat have? What does sakaragami has? And what does the sotapanna has? Let's keep it aside. I'm not saying that we shouldn't discuss, but that will be again an intellectual discussion because then again you're creating a Vijnana, an experience out of nothing. See, Aryu, today you will not be able to experience anagami no matter what you do. You can imagine this is what an anagami would be feeling, but that doesn't do anything to you. You'd be guessing. Let's park it. I'm not saying we shouldn't. We should. But let's go step by step. Let's start to understand what is Vijnana, because that is where we stopped on the other day. And then we have not got back to it. So what is happening is that we are talking so many things, but we are not completing it. So I thought that today we should complete that, right? We have taken something, should have a completion. So I have another 10 minutes to go. So we'll finish it. I don't want to finish this entire Vijnana today. We'll take Vijnana again tomorrow because it's a huge one. It's you, me, everything is Vijnana only. There's no other person because what is death? Vijnana is not there. That's it. As simple as that. So if whatever you call you is just Vijnana. Let's take it slowly. Now coming back. The tongue has the ability to taste, but the tongue by itself cannot taste. Take this first. If you keep the tongue, if you keep the object next to it, right? If you keep the eye and the sight, you keep the ear and the sound, like that other one. But if you bind with Vijnana, magic stuff, it's like matchbox and a stick. Matchbox by itself doesn't fire. The stick by itself doesn't have any fire. But when you bring both of them together, the magic fire.
That is difficult for me to understand. I always keep that Tinam Sangati Passo. Vijnana is not going on the tongue. Vijnana is not going on to eye and saying, look. But still without Vijnana, they are not able to live. These two, I am not able to. Whenever I say Tinam Sangati Passo, I always think that I will understand sometime later.
If you read Mahatanha Sankhya Sutta, where Buddha explains the six consciousness as light, different by giving different examples of that. If you get the aha moment out of it, then you know you have picked it up. Otherwise, no matter how much you read, how much you try to analyze, how I understand, but how is Vijnana? Right? So our practice of Vijnana, tomorrow when we will take with Mahatanha Sankhya Sutta. And we will see.
Tell me one thing, the eyes, the neuroscience point of view, the eye is grasping the thing, the brain is processing it, and then it goes to Adaivattu, whatever. Let's not go in that detail. But this process is robotic, right? There is no Vijnana there.
There is. So whatever the science or medicine calls it as neurons is Vijnana.
Exactly.
Right.
So Tinam Sangati first, so when we say, I have fired this neuron.
I doesn't have the ability to fire anything. In fact, it has rods and cone. It doesn't even have ability to see color. It sees inverted black and white. Right? And ear has only vibration. It just the hairs will vibrate. Nothing else is going to happen.
But still a part of brain, let's say this back side of the brain, which is processing the sight, the color, and then rearranging the object. Even that will shut down when there is no Vijnana. Let's say I'm not interested. I'm not interested in looking. I'm just having a vacant case. There is no Vijnana. Like an Arhat. He's not interested. He's controlling the Vijnana of seeing.
Sachin, hold on.
Then the brain, then brain stops.
Hold on. You went till Anagami, you have gone to Arhat. Now that becomes a bigger misery. Okay, let's come down. It's okay. There's nothing wrong. Okay? There's nothing wrong in properly understanding. Yes, sir, you go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I mean, I think what Sachin keeps bringing up is the point that the Vijnana is so ingrained that whatever you experience is already there. That's why we are so difficult to catch it. But I'm wondering, is the process of understanding it is to see it how it arises at in like a linear fashion. So there, like in the Taha Sankhya Sutta, where you can see it gets into this flame, you can see the process which it arises. Then is at the moment when you break it.
Yes, it is true. So let's take the brain image for a second. The MRI scan or MRI. There is a concept called synapse. I think you would have heard about it. So the neurons are firing. Let's call this firing as Vijnana, just electric current. Now, what to connect to what is mind. And that is how an experience comes, which is unique to you, but for the other person, he doesn't experience it because they are not connected. Right? Experiencer is the I, but what I can experience is what it is connected to, which is called as default mode network, because there is no other words to explain that. So the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain, the left side of the brain is more logical, the right side of the brain is more functional. It doesn't go by any logic. Left side of the brain is more compartmentalized, and the right side of the brain is not at all compartmentalized. That means you can put the experience in whichever categories you want in a right side of the brain or the left side of the brain. It is in those boxes. Clear? Now, what are we trying to do is to disconnect this default mode network, which is what is psychedelic drug going to do. Or when somebody is drunk, he loses the default mode network for time being. So now he gets into a subconscious existence where he can find whatever he wants to find, starts to sing and dance or do some weird things. Because there is no conscious connection between two networks, right? So the neurons are firing. Before we'll close it now. Okay, the neurons are unaware of the connection and hence called Vijnana. They don't know where they're connecting. They're just connecting in random based upon the habit pattern. Right? And these habits are called as gati. So by connecting the same thing again and again and again and again, you're strengthening that. You're strengthening the bond of whatever is default.
Pathway, neural pathway.
Yes, you have created a neural pathway. So it doesn't change. It gives you the nitya experience instead of anitya. Why? Because I is connecting the same object again and again and again. The ear is connecting to the same sound again and again and again. Because when your wife calls, you don't treat her to be not your wife. You just think, she's my wife and she's calling me. Because it's already entered into a default mode network. So it's connected. Think it over. Let's stop it. Tomorrow we'll have fun with both neural networks with this beautiful Mahatanha Sankhya Sutta. Let's see any one of you get the wow moment, or well, let's see before Aryu comes into India, whether he gets one wow moment so that then he can extend it here when he's here. Okay, so today I thought about shaking you up a little bit, and then our usual discussion, and I start, and all of you listen and say, ha ha, okay, got it. I'm 100% sure you won't have got it at all. Because I'm talking at one level, you are understanding at another level, which is okay. So we will use the brain sampling to understand how it works. And it works. It exactly works in the same way. No difference. If you go into the MRI, you can find it. So when you meditate, if they were to put all the equipment, you can see the brain frequencies. You can see the alpha, beta, gamma, theta, and all that brain waves, which is nothing but how the connection is happening. The more it cuts, the lighter it feels. What if it cuts entirely? And that is arhat.
Or we can say, for the sake of practice, we are pretending to be a child. We are denying all that we learn. I have never eaten sugar, and something has been put on my tongue.
Yes.
I pretend.
Sugar is sweet is okay. Sugar is not. Salt is okay. Custard is not. Or
So
pizza is not.
practice is to pretend that I have never eaten sugar.
No pretend. Cut the default mode network.
Cut the default network, but we all are unable, but so that we can pretend. And this is the way Arhant would have been working.
Yes.
Even this kid would have a perception of that sweetness, or he doesn't know sugar, but there's a craving, and I mean, there's already a perception and feeling there.
No, the sweet taste is coming from sugar, so he gets addicted to sugar. Got the point? Like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, good night and see you tomorrow. Same time.